Merci beaucoup à tous nos présentateurs. C'était vraiment intéressant, passionnant, je dirais. C'est le moment de tourner le micro vers vous. Évidemment, on ne tient pas nécessairement à ce que ce soit uniquement une période de questions, mais beaucoup une période de discussion. Alors, je ne sais pas s'il y a déjà quelqu'un qui veut briser la glace, soit par une question, par un commentaire intelligent, pertinent.
Des personnes intelligentes ce soir.
Non, pas de gens intelligents. OK. On a le micro. Non.
Non, c'est parce qu'il y a une captation.
Donc, la question s'adresse à toi, à savoir qu'est-ce qui unit ton projet avec l'Observatoire du Mont-Mégantic, comme ça a été mentionné au début, ou c'est avec IREX? Et pour répondre aussi à ta question, au Chili, c'est l'Asila, où est-ce qu'il va être installé la caméra? Donc, pour répondre, mais ce qui m'intéresse, c'est de voir le parallèle que tu fais avec l'Observatoire du Mont-Mégantic, en fait.
Oui. En fait, j'ai pris le parti de débuter par le début. Hein? C'est-à-dire que j'ai fait quelques expériences où est-ce que j'ai été amené à voir comment les scientifiques travaillaient. Notamment, il y a quelques années, j'étais invité sur la Munsen, le bateau de la garde côtière canadienne qui fait un voyage de recherche scientifique à tous les ans en Arctique pendant l'été. Puis moi, j'ai fait le voyage de retour donc de Kugluktuk à Québec sur une période de 3 semaines. Et puis, donc c'était un temps assez court, puis le parti pris que j'ai pris, en fait, c'était de filmer ce que les gens voyaient du bateau. Ça peut sembler assez simple, mais la première discussion que j'avais eue avec le scientifique qui m'avait envoyé, Philippe Archambault de l'ISMER à Rimouski, il m'avait dit, nous, on a la chance de visiter les lieux les plus incroyables du monde, d'aller en Arctique, parce que personne n'a accès vraiment, c'est des territoires vraiment super loin. Et puis, il nous a dit, on essaie de faire des images pour témoigner de ce qu'on voit, mais c'est assez mauvais, nos images. Et ultimement, ça a pris un certain temps, ils se sont fait de la réflexion, mais pourquoi? En fait, il y en a des gens qui font des images, des spécialistes-là, puis c'est les artistes. Donc, c'est un peu comme ça que ça a commencé. Donc, j'ai pris le parti de débuter ma résidence du bas de la montagne jusqu'au haut, c'est-à-dire de vraiment faire une documentation vidéo au départ, des instruments, et puis d'enclencher tranquillement des discussions avec qu'est-ce qui se passe là-bas, qu'est-ce qu'ils font, et ultimement. Fait qu'il y a une partie du projet qui est assez claire pour moi, c'est-à-dire l'idée de documenter les outils puis d'en apprendre plus sur comment ça fonctionne. Mais évidemment, à cette rencontre-là, un peu comme ce que j'ai eu avec Jonathan, c'est-à-dire, ça a été très simple, hein, il m'a simplement montré c'était quoi le format fixe. Il m'a montré la base de données sur l'Université de Strasbourg, puis pour quelqu'un qui fait de la programmation, puis des images, c'était assez fascinant. Donc, simplement, ce petit coup-là m'a amené à aller plus loin. Mais j'ai déjà débuté mes recherches, donc je me suis relancé dans l'étude, si je peux dire, entre autres, de la vieille astronomie, si on peut dire, de l'archéo-astronomie. Et puis, je vous avoue qu'en ce moment, ce que j'ai le goût, c'est de voir des étoiles, en fait. C'est que je me suis rendu compte à quel point, ça m'a rappelé des souvenirs d'avoir vu un lever de Vénus ou de manière intuitive. Je m'étais dit non, mais ça paraît, on voit que c'est une planète qui se lève, on voit que ça fait pas partie de la voûte étoilée. Donc, il y a une partie de mon projet, puis ça c'est un peu l'idée nouvelle. C'est pas très complexe ce que je raconte, mais c'est vraiment d'essayer de vivre et de revivre de manière, de profiter en fait de la réserve de ciel étoilé pour vivre l'expérience sans même l'idée de l'outil en fait. Puis de partir de ce point de vue-là. C'est peut-être un peu large, là, mais... Et puis je poursuis sur les satellites aussi. Mais ça, on en reparlera plus tard.
Est-ce que quelqu'un d'autre veut intervenir? Sinon, moi, j'ai une petite question. Ah, vas-y.
Merci. Is it okay if I pose the question in English?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For everybody on the table, yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you for the presentations. What struck me is that all of you were giving us different approaches of making visible what is detectable, especially thinking about the artistic renderings of planets, habitable planets. But I'm curious about examples of rendering visible what is not detectable, like dark matter. And I'm just curious of examples of visualizations of aspects of astronomy or space that are not easily visualized? It's an open question. I don't know if there are examples that could come to mind.
Yeah, I can take a shot at this.
You can start, sure.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's a lot of stuff out there that doesn't emit visible light that we can see with our eyes or telescope, and we need to somehow create an image of this. For instance, infrared light, where our eyes are not cannot see infrared light, but we can devise a machine or a camera that will be able to register infrared light. And lately, I'd say for the last 15, 20 years, people have been creating these images in false color of objects seen in infrared light, but on which we just match green and blue and yellow and whatever. But these colors, they don't make any sense, of course. It's infrared light. The same goes for radio data. 30 years ago, radio telescope were not, they produced image, but they were not, spatial resolution was rather low. But the new machines, the new radio telescope nowadays are have a very high resolution, and we can produce images, radio images of objects, again, where we just match colors on these. It's a radio signal. It's something like your TV could, or your alarm clock at home could. You're just registering radio waves, but we still try to produce an image that our eye we can see with our own eyes. The same goes with dark matter. We don't see it. We just know it's there because it affects the way light travels or the way stars or galaxy moves. And we just try to map the region where there is dark matter, how much there is, what's the density or the amount of dark matter, but by per unit volume. And then again, we just put some color on it. Usually it's dark blue or purple. I don't know why, but dark matter is purple or dark blue. But again, it's and the same goes for a lot of scientific domains. You see those pictures of atoms and electrons and protons and quarks, and they match color. Nobody knows. What's the color of an electron? In my mind, it's gray. I don't know why, but an electron must be gray. But a quark is blue or red or I don't know. So there's a part of an artistic or aesthetic work that's done on this in order for our eyes. It has to be pleasing to the eye, and somehow our brain understand what it's seeing, even though it doesn't make sense. Radio wave doesn't have any color, of course. So
maybe I could add just because scientists they need to understand the data that they're collecting, so the color of the filter doesn't really matter. But my take on it is that really often I did projects that would kind of critique the image that are not produced by the scientists, but are produced with the result from the scientists. So when you watch a show, with David Suzuki and he talks about the Big Bang, the image that you will see looks more like Star Wars. So you hear a big, huge bang with lights, and so I decided that I would do a piece on that idea, on the idea of Big Bang. So I took a graphic, a really small chart, that takes the dimension of the universe from 100 million years, starting from zero, and I made a visualization with it with my software, and the thing you get is a blue dot that becomes red, and then it becomes white after 5 minutes, let's say. So it's in a way it's much more. It's probably closer. to the reality of the Big Bang, but anyhow, you know, the reality of the Big Bang with our senses doesn't make sense anyhow. But I'm always struck how, and I think it creates a kind of blur between scientists, and bad imaging, in a sense, create a kind of blurriness, and it doesn't really help the people to understand what they're doing, in a way. So that's why I'm more interested in the rough data that they use.
Yeah, thank you. Because my question was really, and you've responded to it. My question behind my question was, to what degree does that attempt to visualize what can't be visualized seek recourse in either sublime, as that's been explored in visual culture already, or science fiction and popular culture notions of, to what degree is that where you go to?
Is that what? Sorry? Is that where I go?
Are those the visual languages that people go to?
No, I probably won't answer the question really, but when I start a project, I will make some tools, I will make a couple of programs, and when I think that my program, you know, let's say I want to tune on a radio frequency and my software tuned to a proper frequency, when that's done, I kind of shift my mind. Then I start to watch science fiction movie. Then I will add, you know, kind of hypnotic sounds from the 60s. You know, there's a point where when my methodology is kind of strict, I forget about everything, and then I produce a work of art, as I might say. So for me, like, there's a real moment where I allow not I allowed, it's for me, it's a mandatory to kind of forget about and I'll do a lot of tricks, you know. I always, people ask me, like, how real is this, you know? And after a point, I'm not even sure. We were discussing about the orbits of my satellite on my image, and you're surprised maybe that there was a kind of focus and you're not quite sure about it, and I agree, you know, I'm not sure, maybe I lost something somehow, and my image doesn't really tell about the phenomenon, it just a take on it or a different approach. And there's no, in French we say a légende, a notice under the image. When you do a graphic, a chart, you need to know what's on the X and the Y axis. With my work, you never know. I never tell. And I don't remember it at a certain point.
Anyone else? I have a question for Jason, because I was really interested in the fact that you do collaborate with artists, with illustrators to visualize your work, and I wanted to know, because I have to work with those results as a scientific communicator and tell people that these are not true images. So from your point of view as a scientist, if you had to present your results to the public the way you wanted to do, would you still use that kind of imagery, or you would just prefer to show some charts like what you see in your work?
Yeah, I like the imagery, and I like the more abstract imagery of trying to explain the effects and the techniques that are present. There's one thing to show like a pretty picture of a surface of a distant planet we know nothing about, but trying to portray how we've learned the details of that, I think, is much more important. So explaining, I had the one image that showed like the kind of ghost patterns that were going on, and that was used for a visual technique to explain how planets were gravitationally interacting with each other to perturb the otherwise periodic clockwork-like motion of planets, to show that it's not actually the case. There's something different. And once you make that connection so that the general observer can understand the effect, then I can use that to then explain what I've learned about those distant planets. And then you can allow the person to sort of develop their own imagery that goes with it. It's real easy to jump over how we got there and jump into the Star Trek view of everything looks like it's aliens and pale blue dots. Like we're aiming to get images of pale blue dots, and that might be, that's, you know, there's big instruments down the road that are trying to do that. And when we get there, that'll be easy to do. But at the time being, it's explaining how we actually go from dots on a page into trying to explain that this is what we're learning from those initial dots that we got. And this visualization and the collaboration with artists, at least from my viewpoint, is imperative. Like, I require bouncing ideas off people with these abstract thoughts so that I can distill it down into ideas that other people understand and not get too buried into the dots that are on the page themselves.
I have a question for you, if that's okay.
Sure.
Do you ever work with people from the International Association of Astronomical Artists?
No, not specifically.
IAAA?
No, usually it's people that are local. So when we had an event here back in, when was it, December, and we had a local artist, Maxime, and I forget his last name, top of my head, who did this beautiful piece of work of portraying orbits with planets going around it. So I kind of like working with local artists as well to get them a hand, because usually these people took introduction to astronomy here at Bishop's, right? So they already have a taste for it. So you get their enthusiasm that comes with it, and then we can build off that going forward. Or it's usually through, I meet someone else who has a connection with people that are interested in these work. So I've usually not worked with a specific group. It's usually more branching out for who knows who kind of thing.